So I notice when I've been going places, it happens it's really cool. When I went to go see the elephant, it's a family of 7 different elephants that it's run by the Karen tribe people. So these northern Thailanders, and I'd actually been there 6 years ago to one of their family places. So I
Mhm.
met this elephant that had just been born. It was a 1 month old, 2 month old elephant, and I met him again. And he's 6 years old. But as we were driving in and we got off, like it was a 2.5 hour shuttle ride. And then we got into the back of the truck. And as I'm like looking out onto the land, this Karen tribe woman just popped up and they have the long necks and the gold necklace. They elongate their necks.
Yeah.
And she said, "Welcome to our land. Have a pleasant journey." And it was so loving, but she just popped up. And so I'm noticing, and then that was when things would pop up. I could see almost remote viewing and different things. And that's when I noticed like certain things. So I'm noticing that more when I'm out and about. It's happening. Yeah, it's really interesting. So I don't know if you do that when you're out, but it's almost I'm meant to be, you know what I mean? I'm meant to be out to be doing that because I don't see it as well as when I'm inside. I see it outside. So using that muscle outside and kind of seeing, which is really interesting.
The observation or
Yeah, I was sitting, some of the stuff I was seeing, I was sitting on the shuttle bus, just looking out the window.
Mhm.
And then I saw a vision of my house and something over top of it. And I was, wait, what's that? So it's remote viewing is what I can really say. It's not, I'm thinking about, I don't even think I was thinking about the house. I just let my mind, I don't know, I guess my mind was clear. I was just looking outside and then I got a clear image of this thing about my house. And I was, oh, what's that? And then I got rid of it. And then, yeah, I was looking out at the land and then this woman popped up and she's welcome to our land. And then that's kind of how it happened in Laos too, when I was on the bus heading in the first time from Thailand. And I got the question, what are you doing here? And then it was, what are you doing here? And then I didn't realize it was the land. And then when I left, it was, you can come back anytime. And then when went to Laos last week, I noticed when I was going there, I saw these handcuffs, chains on my, almost this thing. And then when I left Laos, it kind of undid. So I guess that's because I was only getting a stamp in, stamp out. So I wasn't meant to go anywhere. It was kind of weird. And then when I was in line to get the stamp back I looked up above the box where the officers,
you
whatever the,
saw something up there, right?
yeah. And then I first looked up and and then I looked up again and then I saw a stamp. And I was, what does that mean? And then all of a sudden I went into and the guy said, do you have this? And then I went away and then I came back to a different guy and then he stamped me in. So it's just weird. And then I don't know if I told you this, but there was a little being vacuuming. I saw him. He was kind of dancing and singing and just vacuuming in this area. He was this little being. And it's nothing I see in color. It's just I do see things in color, but these ones in particular, it was almost just a light hologram. And I was, oh, why is he vacuuming? I don't even have a vacuum. And then the next day I was holding this glass jar that had come. And then I
Mhm.
slipped and it dropped right where he was vacuuming. So yeah, it's funny, just that kind of stuff. But I'm noticing it more. The money dragon Arn was so clear, so clear. I could see the texture and the green of the scales in his face. He was very kind, very ancient, very wise. And then I've seen Arcturians quite a bit. And then of course I was seeing the freaking things of the other things, but those were just
Mhm.
not fun. I'm seeing a monkey right now. I saw a giant roaming, some big giants around. I've seen a lot of rainbows,
It's like
actual,
like actual rainbows, but
not so these ones I'm seeing rainbows. It's almost like a new pathway of it's been there the whole time, but I haven't realized. You know, it's kind of when I relax and I see it. So I see like rainbows and fairy dust almost, and a whole bunch of butterflies and fairies and different things and then when I go back, I like don't see it. And then the sun, what I have seen though with the sun in this reality, what I see in the sun is I see almost these rainbow, this is at sunset. And I see it and I'm standing on my, like outside on the earth and I see the sun just before it's setting. And I see this like, big light portal that goes all the way around and rainbow rays just keep coming out. And I always look at it and I can see these rainbow. Yeah, it's a rainbow portal is really what,
Mhm.
and the sun never used to look that.
You're constantly connected now and seeing more with just as you walk around, you're seeing other dimensions and things. And how sometimes you're just so distracted by everything else that you don't really see anything, and you have to get into a meditative state to see. And now you're just living in that constant meditative state.
Yeah, it's interesting because and that's I think a big one too when we were talking. Well, I'm sharing. It's obviously coming up to share with you, but it was the thing where that was a switch for you because you were feeling you didn't have time to do that. And it's also too, so with the language, when I start using my hands and speaking, we're so integrated into that as well. And yeah, so singing for you, that the language started really coming through when I was just when you're operating with, so you it's almost you're dropping in hands when you're grounding into your heart, but you start to feel that like sending love to something you love, sending love
Mhm.
to a tree or unconditional love. I feel that I even feel if I'm sending love to the tree, even if I'm not touching him, just near him or thinking about him, or my dog,
Mhm.
or anything really. It's starting to come with anything, but it's that coming from that place, which is very much more grounded. Because before, when I was sitting in meditation, it's okay, you do the whole thing and up, and it was almost I would feel I'd have to feel I'm up there, which then I don't know. It's just more of
It's like bringing up there down to here. So you're constantly up there and down here at the same time. You're 1 foot in, 1 foot out
and
time.
that's and yeah. So have you done that when you're out places when you're out?
It's I haven't done it as much. I feel this last year it might have been I feel I've been a little bit more disconnected, but before than I was. And I'm getting back into that. I feel, living with Claire and the girls, there were so many extra things that were distracting me. Wasn't able to I started to be started not being able to let go and wanting to be in control of stuff again, getting out of flow. And just starting last week, I started to get back into the flow and things starting to make more sense, starting to feel more grounded and happier and just fulfilled. So I've
Mhm.
definitely been where you're at right now, but I feel like I've allowed myself to let go of that and be distracted. And I by other things.
I
Now I'm
definitely
getting
feel
back.
like it's been a lot easier since being out here, being in
Mhm.
the nature, which I mean, it all makes sense. I've heard it a million times, but I'm like, oh, that's what it really means.
Yeah, there was this one time where actually the day of my the day after me and my wife separated. I went on this hike and was told to walk a little bit and then stop and look around, and I was seeing things that symbolize different messages and being told different messages while on this hike. And it's funny because now Claire is doing the nature bathing, and nature bathing is actually doing just that. Where you're going around and you're not actually going on a hike, you're just walking, you're just being in nature and connecting nature and using nature, what you see in nature to speak to you and get messages. And it sounds very similar to what you're seeing, but I think what you're seeing is several levels higher than that, because you're not just observing and connecting with the 3D world and nature inside that. You're going beyond that and connecting with the energy of other dimensions that are overlapped in our dimension, and you're seeing that, and you're seeing other beings that have come in. So it's taking it to a whole nother level. And definitely been
It's
there. That yeah, I
it's
haven't been there.
kind of though when you said you were in a meeting and you're like, I don't know where I went, but I went somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
So it's interesting. It's instead of maybe I've resided, I don't even know like where my relaxing point is here, but if I'm just relaxed and flowing from it's almost in between my heart and my solar plexus is in
Mm,
between. And then all of a sudden I see this whole world. And yeah, I
You,
just started doing that outside. So but then at the same time I was doing it when I was on the bus or
you know what it reminds me of? Because this happens mostly for me more than others. Is I'll be talking with someone and I'll be like, man, I really love this person. Wait, what? What's this? What? This is not anyone. What kind of love is this? Because it's first it hits me as this love attraction, romantic attraction. So, no, that's not what it is. I am literally seeing and feeling just their energy. I'm seeing their raw energy, and I'm seeing them for just as light, and I'm being drawn to that, and I'm feeling the love connection with that. And it's the entire mask is taken away, and so it's really funny. It's it's this super deep connection that I've just been able to just tap into with people. And it doesn't even have to be a super deep, you know, conversation of emotions. It's just after a certain period of time, just in a conversation with them, I just start to see them so much differently. That happens more often than not. That's what I am able to see. I don't even try to, it just happens.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
super unconditional love that you start to have for them, and you're just, wow,
Yeah. Yeah, because that's really,
and it's not even the energy of them in that life. It's I'm seeing the energy emanating of their higher self coming through, because
mm,
this has happened with people that I have. This in particular had to one person, a coworker at work, that I was just he was a very annoying person, very hard to work with and whatnot. But I don't know, there's something in that conversation which allowed me to see beyond all of that and actually see his raw energy, that including the energy of vengeance, just hidden away because of our physical forms, because of this current life and whatnot. It was just, so it was really weird to feel that way, to feel that unconditional love and connection with his energy. This is not someone who like would ever have felt that about it all. And so I think that was the first time I that when that happened, that's when I started to think about what I was sensing when I started feeling this, because I felt it before, but I hadn't made any connection with it, with people. And when that happened, I was like, that's what's going
yeah, I mean, because that's really what we're supposed to be. We're not, if we're in a state of unconditional love, free of judgment from anybody, like that's really one of the big lessons that we're here to not judge
on.
anybody, because you're really just judging yourself, right? But that's so cool that you can like see past all those, and even if it's someone that's bugging you, you can see, and then you're like, you have unconditional love in there somewhere. You're down. Yeah. Yeah. And you're meant, and you're there to help in different ways. I remember it's an old family friend of mine, and he's a bit of a negative Nancy now. He never used to be, but we drove out to go see my mom and her friend, my aunt, my godmother. And the whole ride out, it was just kind of negative, negative, negative. And I was still chipper. There's so
Mhm.
much to do. It was actually a conversation about energy healing and stuff.
Mhm.
And then I was just all right. And then we went in and we were there, and then it was almost like you could see that he sucked the life out of the energy in the room, and he was kind of just everybody's kind of listening to him chat. And then in my mind, I was like, I've been trying to keep the energy high, and I'm someone else sitting here. And then someone
Mhm.
else chimes in and starts saying something kind of positive, and then I start coming in, and then all of a sudden the other person did, and you can see the light coming back into the room.
Wow.
And then by the whole drive back, because yeah, it was like an hour and a half to drive there back, and he was, because we both lived downtown. We drive back down, and he was still kind of doing it again, and I still was positive. And then at the very end, he was, well, I'm just so, you're just so happy, you're just a ball of light. And he was then happy, just as he was just actually reflecting on it. And he's like, there's something that I was, yes, yes, and I gave him a hug, and I was, a crack of light just got in there after whatever the hours. And then I left, and there's some seeds that are planted in there that'll stay. But the whole thing, I was, man. But I could see at the end there was a little hope of a little, and that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
you are you are changing. And also with the higher self stuff, as soon as I mentioned the solar plexus too, as soon as you have the conversations. And another thing, I've noticed this too. You know how they say, I mean, I'm using this as an exercise. If say you never talk to someone again, and but you really want to like have closure or something, right? You can just say it in your mind, have that conversation, or you can write it down, however it works for you.
Yeah.
But that's going to the higher self, and your higher selves are having that
Mm.
conversation, and that's smoothing it out. You think you have to physically be having that conversation with someone, but no, your higher selves are like doing the work, and then they're coming down, and then there's clearing any energy.
Yeah. There's been instances where I've done that with my ex-wife, because we have absolutely no contact whatsoever, and she has no interest in that. And it's also coming from a place of, does it really serve her and me completely for me to force this conversation? Is it really necessary? And so I've kind of just done it more for myself because I want to make sure, because part of it's also I got to check myself on the motivation for that conversation. And so I've been,
Yeah.
instead of wanting to go and talk to a person, I've just gone and done like journeying and talking with her just in like, well, yeah, her higher self, and having that conversation of the closure and saying things. One of the biggest things was really just saying thank you to her. And I was like, is this really going to serve her? Is she going to take it the wrong way? So I'm just going to say it this way. It's saying to herself, thank you for divorcing me because of X, Y, and Z, because it's allowed me to open all these doors later in my life that I wouldn't have never have had we stayed together. And it's kind of a closure on my part to thank her for that. And I think part of that is also because I know that she was very upset. She did not, the fact that she was feeling, because she was basically saying, I'm not in love with you anymore. And she was, I don't want to be together, but she was feeling really guilty for it. And so part of it was, I want to say that to her so she feels less guilty, but I don't think that conversation is really going to be helpful.
Yeah, but you've already thanked her. And that's the thing too, like
Yeah.
there's things that I've noticed too, just by having that conversation in my mind. I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
And then it's cleared stuff up. And that's because that's a big clearing that I had to relearn, because you think that just because you're, no, I have to see them to talk to them, but no, you're doing that, and then it's filtering down to the other person, and tension is cleared.
Mhm.
And then maybe then they, out of the blue, they call you. And I mean, maybe not, might not happen to you, but it might call you. And I've
Yeah.
just noticed it more and more. And it's now that those blocks are removed, it's kind of when someone pops into your mind
Mm.
and then they call you, right? You start to, it's just happening more and more. Okay, this one's a weird one. I'm just going to share this one because it was really random. I was on the couch and then I was looking at Sarge. I just got this message. It was a message and it was, well, yeah, his balls got chopped off and blah, blah, blah. How do you think he'd feel? And I was, is there something that I need to do? Because Sarge has been fixed since he was less than one. He's 11. And is there something that we need to, I didn't even know where this conversation, it just was a randomly out of the blue. I was looking at him. And then sure enough, the next day or later in the day, I can't remember, I'm going outside and the neighbor's dog had a cone around his head because the dog had just gotten fixed. And so I must have picked up on a conversation either about the neighbors talking about the dogs getting the balls cut off, or it had something to do with I mean, it was just a random conversation. Like I literally thought it had something to do with Sarge. Do you know what I mean? But it was,
Mhm.
I still don't know. It was, I picked up on something else, and it was just really funny because, like, yeah, his balls did just get cut off. So, right. And
Yep.
then the poor dog had the little cone on his head. So I still don't know. It was either their conversation or Sarge. I don't know. But it was just, if you think, it's just, it's kind of with me seeing that whole the multi-dimensional world. It's just, yeah, okay, I just picked up on something where, yeah, it's weird. Yeah.